Let's see if it. There we go. What is up, guys? My name is the Oscillator, and welcome back to the channel. We are doing another live discussion today. Yesterday, we had Ninjoy243 on. Today, we have my good friend, AngryCareBears. Say hello, AngryCareBears.
Hey.
And what are we going to be discussing today?
Well, for starters, our favorite movies.
Yes, we are actually going to be doing that. And where can they find you at?
You can find me on my YouTube, AngryCareBears, or on my Instagram at TMKSawyer.
Very, very nice. You can find me on YouTube as well at The Oscillator. You can find me also on Twitter at The Oscillator17. That's where I usually advertise my videos. You can also find me on Discord on the Robert Storm's Discord server, which you guys can join. It is absolutely free. It is in the description as well. I also put my Twitter on there, and I also put AngryCareBears' channel on the Discord server. So we will, or no, not Discord server, her channel. And we got a comment already starting off. Yes. Logan, how you doing, my friend? So the main topic today is top 5 movies. Now, I guess you could say we are movie connoisseurs.
There are a lot of movies I like to critique and love.
Of course. We actually were talking about a movie yesterday in my first live discussion on the channel. We discussed Spider-Man 3.
I gotta say, I do like that one a lot.
Well, you know what? I criticized everything about that movie. I gave it a 6 out of 10 because it is a massive, frustrating mess. And Logan left another comment. I love gaming and the United States democracy and movies and candy.
That's something I can get behind.
Yes, I can as well. And then Logan over here, Sonic the Hedgehog with a big red pimple on his nose. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, Logan is he's a funny guy right there. So like I said, we are movie connoisseurs. Also, guys, if you leave a comment in the chat, we will discuss that as well, depending on if you leave a certain comment that's like doing a certain subject, we will do that. But do you want to get right into it, or do you want to do more wasting time here?
We can get right into it if you like.
All right. I'm going to let my guests go first because I am a gentleman.
You want me to list off all top 5 or just one at a time?
One at a time, and describe why it's on the list.
All right. So my top one is Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure from 1989. So I grew up with that movie, and it's probably my favorite movie. It's just hilarious. I love the time traveling and how they literally just use it to do a history report, and that somehow makes them save the future world, quote unquote. But they're just bumbling idiots who do great things, and Keanu Reeves is amazing in it, along with his co-star Alex Winter. They're just perfect for the part. They're hilarious, they're charismatic, and the whole movie is just amazing. It's one of the best I've ever seen, and it's probably my personal favorite.
Very, very, very good choice. My number 5 is Fight Club, and let me tell you, and I'm going to explain why I like this movie so much. It is because it is probably one of the most... It's sort of a comedy, but at the same time, it's more psychological at the same time. You got Edward Norton, who's a sleep-deprived he's like he's an office worker, and then you have Brad Pitt, who plays this guy who makes soap, and the two room together, and then you have Bellatrix Lestrange, aka Helena Bonham Carter. She's the love interest of Brad Pitt. I just love everything about this movie. I think the plot is absolutely great, and also the direction is fantastic. I especially like the twist at the end. Spoilers to anybody who's never watched it, but it's a movie from the 19 whatever. It's revealed that Brad Pitt is actually the um is actually Edward Norton, but it's his like other personality. The final act is just insane with all of like the explosives and everything, and that is probably why that is my top 5. It's not on up tier because I do feel like it's not one of my all time. It's not a movie that I usually go back to that much, but I will always go back to it because of how like just awesome it is. And we got a chat. Oops, monkey. Logan. Oh, wait a minute. Because if you look at the live chat, like I'm looking at now, he does have a picture of a monkey, which uses the dot oops, and then you have the monkey. And Logan did follow me on Twitter. Thank you so much, Logan. Your next pick.
All right, for number 2, I have A Clockwork Orange from 1974. I love this movie a lot. There's a lot of weird scenes, there's a lot of nudity, which I'm not always comfortable watching. However, I do love the story. I think Malcolm McDowell is amazing as Alex DeLarge. He definitely plays a menacing, evil teenager who runs his gang of the Droogs that terrorize England. I think it's a very interesting concept of how it's a near apocalyptic world, as there's either no police or too much police, and it teaches you kind of how if there's not enough authority, things go rampant and people are savages, but if there's too much authority, you slowly break down as a human and you're no longer who you are supposed to be.
Again, a very, very nice choice. Before I get into my thing, Logan again has another thing. Twitter. Logan again, with the comedy. He's the comic relief. Also, guys, I'm also going to say this now. Before we continue, I will have another video up today. After this stream, because the stream does not. After 10 hours, the stream does end up coming up to YouTube fully. So, if you guys cannot see the stream afterwards, it's because I don't have because it's rendering. But I will have another video up today. At number 4 for me, I know I keep going back to it, but I'm just going abrupt. But number 4 is Deathly Hallows Part 2. I feel like Harry Potter to me is the Star Wars of the 2010s, or just like the 2000s, when Star Wars really wasn't that major. Like, because I know the prequels were during the 2000s as well. But
so
Harry
like the
Potter,
Star Wars for the late 2000s.
Yeah, but Harry Potter to me is actually one of my favorite book series and favorite film franchise. During one of the live discussions, I will talk about Harry Potter at some point. I will probably either rank the films, books, whatever. But as like I know, like people are gonna say, "Oh, why not Prisoner of Azkaban? Why not this, that, and the other?" But I think Deathly Hallows Part 2 to me is probably one of my favorite Harry Potter films because it ends the franchise on probably a really high note, because it's actually surprisingly a very dark film. You see Hogwarts get destroyed by all these like Dementors, Death Eaters, giants, whatever, and the movie just looks absolutely fantastic. I love the acting in this film. Daniel Radcliffe is fantastic as always, along with Emma Watson and just everybody involved. Severus Snape, he's fantastic in this. Alan Rickman, he played Severus Snape. He was fantastic. The action is awesome. The cinematography is great. I just love everything about this film. It is done beautifully. The reason why I'm putting it at number 4 for me is because I feel like the ending does weigh it down a bit. They didn't really need that, but I give it credit for trying to follow the book as much as they could. So that is my number 4. before I let you continue, Logan again hasn't won. I will strike with the deep state. It's your third one, I believe.
Yep. My third pick for my top favorite movies is Shaun of the Dead from 2004. This was probably my first favorite movie. It's one of my favorite comedy movies for sure. It's about a guy named Sean who goes through his everyday life in England, and then all of a sudden a zombie apocalypse breaks. But it's very subtle about it because he still thinks they're just people going out their daily lives, and he doesn't even notice it until his own roommate turns. He is trying to learn how to live a normal life without acting like a constant teenager with his buddy Ed, who is kind of a bad influence on him, as he tries to make up to his girlfriend Liz. While the zombie apocalypse breaks, he needs to go save his mom, and then he needs to go save Liz, who, when he gets to her, he also has to bring along two friends. So they go along the city to get to the pub, obviously losing a few people along the way. And once they get there, they start losing people one by one. So though it's a comedy, it still has some drama elements and sad moments as he loses some of his closest people. One of my favorite things about the movie is what Edgar Wright, the director, does when he's filming mundane things. He makes it seem very impactful, despite the fact you're just watching on just go to morning routine. He still makes everything interesting, and that's what I love about it. And if you notice small little details, you can notice that the zombies that attack them throughout the movie, you already seen in the beginning of the movie as humans. So overall, it's just one of the best comedy horror movies ever made.
I absolutely agree with you. I think Shaun of the Dead is absolutely fantastic. I absolutely recommend it. That was a very good choice. Before I continue, I am going to read Logan's new comment. Watching SpongeBob with my baby cousins.
Epic.
Yeah, that's actually, like, SpongeBob's really, really good, especially earlier seasons.
Oh, yeah,
not the later ones, but earlier ones are fantastic.
Oh, yeah, the earlier ones are the best.
Before we continue, if you guys want to put your top 5 list in the chat, I will definitely read that, and I will not criticize you, because you know what, I respect everyone's opinions here. I will absolutely respect your opinions. At number 3 for me, I'm going with Empire Strikes Back. It is easily my favorite Star Wars film. I just find this film to me is just everything that Star Wars did right with this film. I love, again, I know I keep saying like it looks awesome, but this, for a movie that came out in the 1980s, it holds up well today. And I think, and I really do like the whole plot of the film. I like that the action sequences in this film were absolutely done very, very well. I believe the lightsaber battle here with Luke and Vader was way, way improved. Better than the Obi-Wan and Vader fight in A New Hope. The action sequences with the ships, especially the ones with the Millennium Falcon, trying to get away from the Star Destroyer, that was done very, very well. I loved just every character in this film. I love Boba Fett. I love Darth Vader is a lot threatening in this film. We see the first appearance of the Emperor. We see everybody puts in great performances. Mark Hamill as Luke was very, very good. Harrison Ford, fantastic as always. Carrie Fisher was absolutely incredible. I definitely think that this film is the best Star Wars film. It does everything right, and especially the end where, spoiler alert again, if you haven't seen this movie, that's kind of your loss, my opinion. I'm gonna read the comments, guys. Just hold on a minute. I gotta I want to finish my thoughts first. This movie is, I just think the entire third act was fantastic, and yeah, that's why it's the reason why it's number 3 for me. It does kind of drag on a little bit, but that's okay.
Oh, I
But
thought
that
you were gonna
is,
say because of the kiss.
oh yeah.
Yeah, that's not a good scene.
Wait, which kiss? The one on the ship or the one?
The Luke and Leia kiss. Do I need to
Oh yeah, yeah.
explain which
That
one's
that
bad?
one also kind of puts it at number 3, especially in Return of the Jedi when we find out Luke and Leia are actually siblings. It's kind of
Twins
weird.
at that. Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like they went that far.
I mean, it's still kind of creeped me out knowing who they are.
Yeah.
It's not a comfortable scene to watch.
No, it's not. But yeah, that's why it's number 3. I'm gonna read these 2 comments. Logan Laforest, SpongeBob is gone.
Oh man,
Well, then it looks like we got to get SpongeBob back.
where'd he go?
I don't know. And then Steve and Leave with a comment. Who's your guys' favorite character from Star Wars?
Hello, brother.
My favorite character, it really just depends because I like a lot of the characters. But if I had to pick out one, I'd probably say Obi-Wan Kenobi from any of the Star Wars. You have because you have the Star Wars: The Clone Wars. Obi-Wan's fantastic in that. I love Obi-Wan in the prequels. Probably my favorite thing about the prequels. But yeah, I would say Obi-Wan.
For me, I honestly like Anakin. I'm not gonna lie. I just like how he's got the ego of that he's the perfect one because he's the chosen one, but he also fails at like everything he does. He's not perfect. He does everything on impulse, and I just find him not the perfect hero, especially by the fact at the end he becomes the villain. And I just think that's cool because usually every movie character, the good guy makes it out in the end, but when he does become the good guy again at the end of Return of the Jedi, he dies. Spoilers, but you know, it doesn't always work out for everyone. And I think that's what I like about Anakin is that even when he tries, he still fails.
I absolutely agree with that. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Anakin personally. I like his character. I like him in the Clone Wars. I like Anakin. But I do. I mean, I'm not saying that the writing for him is not that great. I will.
It's
state
not.
that,
The dialogue is kind of bad.
Yeah, especially with Attack of the Clones. It's not. Here's the thing with Attack of the Clones, and I'm gonna say this right here and now. I don't think it's that bad.
I don't either. I think the love scenes are kind of cringy, but the scenes where they're not talking, you know, when they're just like laughing with each other, like the one scene where he falls off the whatever he was riding, he falls off, and Padme is trying to make sure he's all right, and then they start laughing because he was joking about being hurt. I could definitely see the chemistry between the characters and the actors, and I thought that scene in general was pretty good. But then when they start talking, that's when it all goes downhill. At least for me, anyway.
Yeah, like, see, here's the thing with Attack of the Clones for me. I think here's the thing. People say, oh, Attack of the Clones is the worst one of the prequels. No, Phantom Menace is the worst one of the prequels.
Phantom Menace has a good story, but it's just poorly executed. It's very, very boring.
Yeah, it's boring. Jar Jar Binks is easily the worst character in the film. He's in the film way too much.
Yeah.
In Attack of the Clones, he's barely in the film.
Mm-hmm. And he's only there when he's needed.
And I'm going to be completely honest. Christopher Lee as Count Dooku was a fantastic choice.
Oh, he was amazing. He's so menacing, you know?
Yeah.
Like, he can always play a menacing character. I mean, look at him as Dracula.
And he basically was Dracula, pretty much. He wore, like, the black attire. He had Count in his name. Like, come on. Absolutely.
He's like the vampire Dracula of the Sith, and it's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
He's a good villain. I just wish they fleshed him out a bit more.
Yeah, instead of killing him off in the first 20 minutes of Revenge of the Sith, but, you know, you see him more in Clone Wars.
You can only do so much with prequels.
Yeah. We got a couple comments here. Logan says, the Goblin. I guess the goblin took SpongeBob then.
Oh man, the Green Goblin kidnapped him.
Oh, it was obviously him. And then we got Steve, Speed, and Leave saying hi. Hi, Steve. How you doing, sir?
No, he's Speed.
Oh, Speed. Speed, how you doing, buddy? I'm sorry if I misspelled your name, apparently.
No, his name's in the middle, see?
Oh, Logan with another comment. No, the goblin. Oh, that goblin. Oh, I get what you're talking about. I get what you're talking about, Logan. I know what you're talking about. So here's the story with the goblin thing. So with so there's this YouTuber named H3H3. He does a podcast, and there's another YouTuber Oni Plays. One of the guys, Zach, he does impressions of Donald Trump.
Oh.
And he was on the H3 podcast as Donald Trump, and he was talking about goblins. It's incredible. It's hysterical. I recommend watching the clip. We got another comment from Steve. It's all good. AngryCareBears is Steve.
It's true, I am.
And then Logan with another comment. Thank you, Hydrate. I think this one is a picture. Oh, it's a cup of water if you look at the live chat.
Excellent. Thank you for the great advice.
Yes. So I think we've gone way off topic here, but that's okay. I think that's why I love these live discussions, because we always go off topic, always.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Nope. So to get right back into it, my number 2 for me is a superhero film, but it's probably a film that no one's watched or heard of, but I definitely recommend it, is Watchmen. And to me, this film is severely underrated. And when I mean severely underrated, I mean it's a film that no one knows about them. I believe that Watchmen to me is probably one of the best superhero films. I just love everything about this film. I love Rorschach's character arc. He's played by Jackie Earle Haley. He's fantastic. Fun fact, he played in the Nightmare on Elm Street remake, which I'll probably be talking about in one of these live discussions, because I absolutely despise this movie. But going back to this,
when are remakes of horror movies ever good, though? Like, except for maybe It 2017, and even that is just okay.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Dr. Manhattan's stuff was great. I love the stuff. I love just the mystery of who killed the comedian. I just love the cinematography is fantastic. Zack Snyder, I do believe Zack Snyder doesn't get a lot of credit that he deserves. He's not the worst director. He knows he's competent, and he knows how to make movies look good.
Yeah.
If any of you have not seen the Batman v Superman director's cut, I definitely recommend that, because it's probably the best and it's probably the only way you could really watch that movie. Not that I really hate Batman v Superman to begin with. It's just
I didn't hate it. I just found it boring. I was in the theater watching it, and I just thought it kept dragging on for too long.
Oh, I agree. I absolutely love this. I like it better than Justice League, though.
I still haven't seen Justice League, and I still don't want to be honest. I've only seen reviews on it, and I gotta say, it doesn't look too good.
Oh, I actually, during the live discussion, I'm probably going to rank the DCEU films, because the DCEU, to me, is just a mess in general.
Oh, yeah, it is.
I'm not saying there aren't any good films in that.
I thought Wonder Woman was pretty good.
Yeah, Wonder Woman's very good. Aquaman's also really good. I love, I think Shazam, I heard, was pretty good.
Oh, yeah, Shazam's awesome. I love that one.
But really everything else that's just like Batman, the only real films that I'm really looking forward to right now is the Batman with Robert Pattinson, because I'm gonna give it a chance.
Yeah, me too.
It could be good.
Mm-hmm. He is a pretty good actor, I'm not gonna lie. He was very good in The Lighthouse, so he does have the acting chops, but let's see if he can pull off a good Batman.
Yeah. He's also going to play in Tenet, which I'm actually really excited for. But that movie probably got delayed due to
Corona.
shenanigans.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it here because
yeah.
Just not talking about it's going to make it. I mean, not talking about it's not going to be a big problem. It won't make paying attention to stuff is just going to make the situation worse. Logan's with the comment here. Wait, WTF? I think a rat trap just went off. Hold on.
Well, that's not good. Well, maybe.
No, it is not. You might want to get that checked out.
Well, I mean, if it's dead, then I guess it's not really an issue anymore.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But back to Watchmen, or back to Zack Snyder, or no, back to Watchmen because the action in the film is great. I love just the look of it. It looks very comic book like. It looks very dark, which is what the movie is. Just everything about the movie is very, very good. I love Dr. Manhattan's backstory. Just all of that is fantastic. It's number 2 for me because I feel like I think the problem is like some of the acting is a little which is why it's number 2. But for the most part, this movie is almost perfect. Oh, we got a couple comments from Logan. He's a big one. Oh, no.
Well, at least he's gone, right?
Yeah. He said he's still here, though. Might have to call someone.
Oh.
This is an anime plot. What a twist. The rat's still alive.
Oh, no.
Before we get to number 1,
I still haven't said my number 2. Or number 4.
Oh, yeah, because you did yours, like, downwards.
Yeah,
Before we get to your last one and my last one, I just want to let you guys know to hit the... I want to let you guys know to hit the subscribe button because we're trying to hit 30 subscribers. We currently have 21 right now. I'm trying to hit 30. Hit this like button. Hit the notification bell so you can see any more of my live discussions or videos. Subscribe to AngryCareBears as well. She has over 200 subscribers. So yeah, subscribe to AngryCareBears. Before we get to our last one, do you want to do honorable mentions?
Well, I still need to talk about my 4.
No. Wait, you didn't do your 4th one yet?
No, not yet. It's also a superhero movie.
Oh, go ahead. I apologize.
No, it's okay. It's okay. So my number 4 is Spider-Man 2 from 2004. It's definitely one of the best superhero movies ever made. It's definitely my favorite interpretation of Spider-Man for the films. I love Tobey Maguire as Peter Parker. He really can pull off the goofy nerd for sure. I do think he's a pretty good Spider-Man. I wish that they probably would have made him snarkier for sure, but he is good. I love Otto Octavius. He's amazing in the film. One of the best villains I've ever seen, in my opinion. The action is amazing, especially for the time. Like, it almost looks real. Especially the train scene. That's probably the most iconic scene in history for superhero films. It's one of the best, and it's just an amazing movie. And Sam Raimi did an amazing job at this film. I wish Spider-Man 3 lived up to it. I still like the film, but I wish it did live up to Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, I actually wish that as well. I talked about Spider-Man 3 again, guys, with Ninjroid243 and Sauerkraus. You guys can check that video out on my YouTube page. It's an hour long, kind of like this stream is going to be. I think each of my live discussions are going to be an hour long because I think to me 2 hours is a little too long, and anything over an hour to me is just not necessary. So, go check that out. We also talked about the director's cut about Spider-Man 3 towards the end, or I kind of talked about it. But I would definitely recommend that as well. Before we get into our last one, do you want to do honorable mentions?
Sure.
So I'll go first. I think one of my honorable mentions. I'm probably gonna put both Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2 as my honorable mentions.
Mm-hmm.
I mainly like the reason why I didn't put them on my list was because if these two movies are probably in my top 10 as well. But the reason why I'm putting them in my honorable mention is because I think these 5 movies to me are just my absolute favorites. These 2 movies are really, really good. I will absolutely recommend both of these films. I will never recommend the third one because I hate it with all my heart. But, however, these 2 films did get me into superheroes and comic books in general. I just think, and I will give Tobey Maguire this for the time. He is very, very good. He is probably I wouldn't say he's my favorite Spider-Man, but I always have a special place in my heart for Tobey Maguire. He definitely does a fantastic job as Spider-Man. I love the stuff with Doc Ock, especially in the second one. That was incredible. The action in both these films, for the most part, are very, very good. I would say mainly the second one has better action, but the first one again has me rewatching it just due to the fact that it's just a good it's just a fun superhero movie. While the second one has a lot more story and has more of an emotional impact. And to me, I love both these films. That's why it's an honorable mention.
For me, for my honorable mention, I probably have 2, and that's Back to the Future and Carrie. Back to the Future is probably one of my favorite movies. It didn't make the list because I have ones I prefer it. However, Back to the Future from 1985 is just, it defines the 80s. So when you think of the 80s, you think of this movie. It's the most iconic movie, or at least one of them ever made. And it's got an intelligent plot that makes you think, especially when you think, if you go back in time and change yourself, what little small changes do you do that can make big impacts? Marty McFly is probably one of the best characters, in my opinion, ever created. He's one of my favorites. Michael J. Fox did an amazing job portraying him. Christopher Lloyd as Doc Brown is amazing. He's, bubbly and charismatic, and he's just a fun character all around, and it's just a fun movie. I gotta say, for the 80s, the special effects are breathtaking. Watching this movie, the special effects hold up so well, and it's just an interesting sci-fi movie that I recommend to everyone. And for my other honorable mention, Carrie, the horror movie from 1976, is a Stephen King novel, and it stars Sissy Spacek as Carrie. It's about the girl Carrie who is constantly bullied in high school, and after she hits puberty in her shower room after gym, she gets bullied even more by all the girls because she's a late bloomer. And it also sprouts in her powers of telekinesis. And her mom is very overbearingly religious and thinks because she's growing up, she's going to be the devil's child. So Carrie's not only pressured by her peers at school, but also by her mother. But from one kind soul of a classmate, she makes her boyfriend take Carrie to the prom so she has a great night. However, one of the mean girls with her boyfriend have different ideas and prank her by getting her to win the prom queen crown, and they dump pig's blood over her, which causes her to snap, as Carrie can only see people laughing, when it's kind of questionable if people are actually laughing or whether it's all in her head. So, using her powers, she doesn't hesitate to kill pretty much everyone. Depending on which version you watch, there's usually at least a few other survivors, but pretty much everyone dies within the room, or if they do escape, she kills them while walking out. And she goes home and she has a huge fight with her mom that turns violent, which leads them both to die. And the only real survivor from that night was the nice girl who got kicked out by the teacher because the teacher thought that she was being mean to Carrie. And she's now surviving with PTSD, knowing that maybe she could have helped Carrie, but in reality, she could not. So
That is a very, very good choice for an honorable mention.
Yeah.
I have another honorable mention. I'm gonna put 3 into 1 because I think these films, because these are part of the same. I'll actually go with 4 because they're part of the same franchise.
Mhm.
I'm gonna go. They're horror movies. And I'm gonna explain why I didn't put these on my list. It's mainly because I don't want to give it to a horror film specifically because
Mhm.
I don't think that's really fair to give a horror film on a top 5 list, because if I was doing like a top 5 horror movies, then I would absolutely put these on there. But as far as like an actual list, I can't put it on there because it's not fair to any other films. I know I put superhero films as well on here, but at the same time, but I feel like
Well,
those are actually movies, while like horror films are kind of more the ones that no one really watches that much unless you're a horror buff.
well, films are films, and though it's rarer to find good horror movies, especially nowadays, I'd still put them on the list just because they're movies. They can have good plot and good cinematography, and they could be, by a checklist, a competent movie, even if they are in the horror genre.
Absolutely. But my honorable mentions are Nightmare on Elm Street 1,
Ooh,
Nightmare
I
on
do
Elm
like
Street,
that one.
Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors, New Nightmare, and Freddy versus Jason. Nightmare on Elm Street 1 is actually a very, very scary movie today. The CGI, or no, there really wasn't CGI back then. The practical effects still look good today. I love the stuff. The kills are inventive. They're incredible. Robert Englund is fantastic in this movie. Heather Lane,
He's the best.
oh, absolutely. He is probably the best horror movie character of all time. I love this. Heather Langenkamp is probably the best final girl of the horror genre. I love I love John Saxton in this movie. Wes Craven knew what he was doing with it, and I just love the look of Freddy as well. I kind of like the look of Freddy in the other films better than this one, but he still looks very, very scary here. Nightmare on Elm Street 3 is easily the best Nightmare movie in my opinion. I know a lot of people prefer the first one, but the third one to me is a perfect combination of scary Freddy and funny Freddy. He's not as comical as he becomes in the later films. Like I said, in a later live discussion, I will be talking about the Nightmare on Elm Street films because it is probably my favorite horror franchise besides Friday the 13th and Halloween. Freddy's Dead: The Final Nightmare is easily the worst Nightmare movie alongside the Nightmare remake. But Nightmare on Elm Street 3 is a perfect combination of the sarcastic Freddy and like the threatening Freddy. The soul chest look awesome. Once again, Robert Englund is awesome in this movie. I love, again, just the idea of having a bunch of kids in this asylum or in Weston to basically because they think that the kids are basically committing suicide. It is probably, again, it's one of my favorite films, especially the soundtrack. The soundtrack to this movie is awesome. Like, Dawkins' Dream Warriors is one of my favorite songs of just any horror film, and it's incredible. New Nightmare as well. The reason why New Nightmare is not on the list because I feel like New Nightmare is a great movie. Do not get me wrong; it is a fantastic, fantastic movie. However, the problem is at the time it was very, very ahead, meaning like no one really knew what to think about the whole like, oh, it's in real life / we're gonna make fun of the horror movie trope. That eventually when Scream came out, I believe a couple years later, everybody was able to go, okay, this is a great idea. However, because of it being ahead of its time, no one really went to go see it. But it's still a good movie. It's not really a Freddy movie because you don't really see him that much. You probably see him the last 40 minutes of the film. So I don't really. He's definitely one of the best characters. I'm also going to go with Freddy versus Jason is another honorable mention of mine. Here's the thing: if you go and watch this movie, if you go into it with like if you're more like a story buff, you're probably going to hate this movie because it makes no sense. However, if you go to see it just for Freddy and Jason to punch each other and just fight it out, it's the movie for you. It is a fun movie. I love this. Just the action is so outrageous. It's incredible. Like, people are flying all over the place. You know, Jason gets hit with like one of those canisters that like fly up, and then Freddy uses them as like a pinball. It's so stupid, but it's fantastic. Robert Englund again puts on as Freddy one last time officially, but he is again very good. It's probably the best Freddy alongside the new Nightmare 3 Freddy. He's the perfect combination of the funny Freddy and the scary one. And I find this movie to be incredible. The look of the film looks great. The acting is okay, but it can be pretty bad for the most part. And for a movie that was in production hell for, I would say, from 1997 to 2003, I think the movie does do very well. So those are my honorable mentions in terms of that.
I gotta say, I think I might have another movie, or two movies actually, for honorable mentions. They're both horror movies, but their stories are definitely really good, and they're not the cheesy jump scare movies. I didn't find them like uber scary because I'm not really easily scared by a movie. However, if you are a horror movie buff, I definitely recommend these. One is definitely known, the other not so much. 28 Days Later and Triangle. 28 Days Later is came out in 2003 and is probably one of the most iconic zombie movies ever. Where after these protesters let out rage-infected chimps, London is ravaged by the rage virus, and 28 days later, the main character wakes up in the hospital, roaming throughout the cities as it's empty. Nobody's there. He's confused. It's not until he gets chased down by his first encounter with the zombies and finds a group of people does he realize what's going on. And the whole story is about them trying to escape and find safety. And once they find the military, things don't go too well as everyone's falling apart, everyone's going insane, and they start turning on each other. Eventually, they do find safety and even are rescued by a plane in the good ending, because there was an alternative ending where the main character does die. Another movie I definitely would recommend in my honorable mention is a movie called Triangle that came out in 2009. Now, this movie starts off a little bit confusing because there's different scenes here and there. The main character, Jess, is with her son, and then it's like her waking up on the beach. And at first you're a bit confused, but the more you watch, the more it makes sense. She goes to hang out with her friends on a Saturday on the yacht after she just met this guy at her job. So she goes on a boat ride with them and falls asleep, but wakes up and can't remember this horrible dream she was having. After a huge storm wipes out the ship, they find a cruise ship floating by, and they get on it after losing one of their friends, so they got to look for her. The ship is completely empty. They're the only ones on it. It looks like it has been untouched. There's nothing wrong with it other than there's no people. However, the more the movie goes on, and the more she keeps saying that she has deja vu about the hallways and the fact that they found her house keys on the ship, which they are definitely thrown aback by. They think that the friend is on the ship, and they keep looking around, and the more and more they do, the more the ship looks like it's decaying. But then the bad guy comes in. He's got a hood over his head, and nobody knows who he is, and he's killing all the friends. They keep blaming Jess, the main character, which she doesn't understand why, as she's not even with them at the time when they get attacked. She fights off the guy, and it happens to be a woman who tells her to kill them all. That's the only way to escape. The villain falls off the ship then, and she walks into a room as a record starts playing. That's when she hears yelling. And then when she looks off the ship, it's her and her friends on the boat, and the whole thing restarts again. And you find out that she's actually the villain, and she has to kill all her friends to escape so she can go back home to her son. Everything loops over and over again until it restarts once again, all the way back to the beginning. And the whole dream she had earlier was a whole thing that happened, and she just didn't realize that it wasn't real.
Very, very, very nice pick. I believe. I actually just got a new subscriber. Logan, subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much. We are now at 22.
Hey, nice.
8 more subscribers to the big 3-0. So now we're gonna head to our our last picks. I'm gonna go with my number 1 pick here. I'll go first. My number 1 is The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight to me is probably, I wouldn't say it's a great superhero film because I don't even consider it a superhero film. I consider it a very, very good crime movie because everything with this film is just done very well by Christopher Nolan, who is probably one of the best directors out there. He did the Dark Knight trilogy. He did Interstellar. He did a lot of those. I believe he did one of the Dunkirk. I believe he did. I think, I'm not entirely certain. He either did that or one of those movies. But those are just some of the movies I can go off the top of my head with Christopher Nolan. He is really this movie. Again, it just shows here. I love the action in this film. He does not use a lot of CGI in this film. Surprisingly, it's a lot of practical effects. The only time he used the CGI was with the helicopter and the with the bat cycle coming out of the Batmobile, and it looks great. The story is very, very well done. I like that Batman is, in the film, and he's an interesting character. Two-Face is also a very good villain. He's very tragic. I love the character of Heath Ledger in this movie is absolutely fantastic. And I will say he is one of the best things of the film. I'm not going to say he's the greatest thing to come out of cinema with this character, but in terms of Jokers, I think he is probably the best Joker besides Joaquin Phoenix. He is Heath Ledger just cannot be topped by anybody. So personally, I love the Joker. I just love every character of this film. The look of the film, the music, everything about it is great. And to me, it is a perfect movie. That is why it's my number 1.
Yeah. So since I'm going backwards, my number 5 is actually Joker from 2019. I thought it was an amazing film with an amazing score, and the acting was phenomenal. The cinematography was great, and when you mentioned Joaquin Phoenix, I thought perfect timing for me to mention Joker, because Joaquin was amazing in this film, and I truly believe that he was this guy just beaten down by society and feeling unloved by everyone to the point where he snaps and becomes this symbol of resistance. Throughout the movie, he's just trying to get by. He lives with his mom who's sick. He has a mundane job of just, being the clown for the store to sell things. And even the beginning of the film, he gets beaten down by a group of just rambunctious teenagers. And this takes place in 1981, like right after the garbage protest of the 1970s in New York City, because, Gotham's a stand-in for New York City. So not only is just the environment so gritty and dirty and just depressing all around, he's just trudging through everyday life, just struggling, with his mental illness. Nobody understands him. And it's just the more things get pulled down, more people bug him. He gets fired from his job. He just snaps after he gets harassed by a bunch of rich kids to the point he kills them. And everyone just thinks they're crazy killer clowns on the loose, when in reality it was just some poor guy who snapped. And the more he finds out about his past and his life, and just more heartbreaking as it goes on, to the point he wants to kill himself, and he wants to do big and extravagant things so he's never forgotten like he is in his everyday life. But instead, Murray, when he brings him on the show, was just to make fun of him. And the fact that he saw that man as his father and completely crushed his dreams instead of being the father figure he always wanted, he snaps and kills him instead and becomes the symbol of the resistance against the rich. And what I thought was probably the best scene in the movie is as the Joker's being born and he's lifted up as the Antichrist, basically, of this movie, because he's just chaotic. At the same time the Joker was born, so was Batman. Everything's crumbling down for Batman as his parents are killed in front of him, but Joker's being risen as this symbol. And I just think it's one of the best movies I've ever seen. And no, it's not my favorite. It's definitely my top 5.
I absolutely respect that. I think I've seen Joker before, and it is a phenomenal movie. It is. I absolutely agree with that. I just loved your reasoning there. So we actually finished our list 9 minutes early than because sometimes we go over an hour, sometimes depending on what we're doing. So I think for the next 9 minutes, we're just gonna ramble on about stuff. If you guys want to post anything in the chat, you guys definitely can. So basically, I'm going to give you guys a 9-minute warning. After those 9 minutes are up, we are basically done with the stream. I'm not going to go. I might go a couple minutes over the hour, but that's fine. But yeah, that's basically it. If I also mute my mic at any time during any of these live discussions, it's because I have to basically just, because there's a lot of background noise, as you probably heard earlier. So that's why I usually mute my mic. So that way, when things like that happens, it's not necessarily a big problem. Oh, Steve is here. What are your guys' thoughts on Jason X? Jason X is the greatest movie of all time.
Okay, but it's probably one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
How can you say that? First of all, I do not think it's the worst Jason movie. You want to know what the worst?
Sense.
Do you want to know what the worst Jason movie is? The one where he goes to Manhattan for 10 minutes. Even though the movie in the title said Jason takes Manhattan, he doesn't take Manhattan because he's on a boat for 90% of the movie.
So what's the point of him being in space? Like, it's just the kills are so cheesy. It's like they didn't even know what they wanted to do with this movie. They wanted to bring back nostalgia, but they wanted it to be in the future, and then they wanted to be all weird. Like, what person sat down with the script and said, you know what'd be a good idea? Jason in space, but in the future. You ever seen Alien? Well, imagine that, but with Jason. It's not good. It doesn't combine well.
Listen, whoever wrote that was a genius.
Whoever wrote that, please call me up so I can give you some tips on writing.
They might have been drinking during that time, but let me tell you, they know smart ideas while drunk.
It's probably, I wouldn't say it's the best worst movie, because that spot holds for the cinematic masterpiece we now know as The Room by Tommy Wiseau. I should have added that to my list. That's the best movie ever made. That's a masterpiece, and you cannot live up to The Room.
But Jason X is up there, though.
Oh, boy.
It's still one of my favorite movies. It's just awesome. It's so bad, but it's hilarious. I love it so much.
Oh.
Oh, Logan with a... so that rat kind of climbed up to a vent and has been looking at me for a while. Oh,
you got something going on, man. I don't know what's going on in your household, but it's surely interesting. You might want to call someone about that.
Yeah, you might want to. So get that checked out, my friends, because
usually I hear mice infestations, but I've never heard one for a rat, unless you're in like New York City.
Yeah. Oh, and Logan with another chat. Little rascal made a hole in the wall.
Little rascal. It's way funnier than it should be.
That's probably not a good. You might want to call somebody there.
Yeah.
Also, Logan, thank you for the subscribe, buddy. Might have you on at some point, Logan. During one of these live discussions. because I know one of the live sessions I'm going to do. I'm going to be talking about Summer Game Fest, and I'm pretty sure I might get Logan on here to talk about it because Summer Game Fest to me already is already not living up to expectations.
Mm.
Crazy little rat pupils.
Yeah, rats are crazy looking, I gotta say. They're kind of scary.
And then Speed with, was your house near Chernobyl? I mean...
Hey, it could be. I feel like if it was near Chernobyl, the rat would probably literally make a huge hole in the wall like the Kool-Aid Man because of all that radiation. But hey, you know.
Yeah. All right, guys. This is your, I would say, about 4-minute and 30-second pretty much warning. So any last chats you guys, or any questions or any last chats you guys want to put in, we will definitely answer them, and we will do that. Logan with another chat. No, there's a big rat's nest deep in the forest somewhere.
Oh.
That's not good. And Logan, I think someone's hoarding big nasty rats into that little crevice.
Probably should go take care of that. Call in an exterminator.
Yeah. And I mean that could be possible though. Like maybe someone's trying to get that rat as a pet, you know?
I mean, hey, there are pet rats, but usually they don't carry diseases, so I wouldn't trust these rats.
Yeah, I wouldn't trust them either. Oh man. Yeah, I want to get Logan on a live discussion at some point. I actually want to get my friend Invisitron on the chat in the live discussion. Maybe my friend Will. I'll probably have him on. I definitely want to get Jerry and Jonathan on here because that's gonna
that'll be fun.
Oh yeah, I will. And it's not like they're hurting anything. Can't go wrong with a rat. No.
Except when he spreads like weird diseases to you.
Yeah, if it like bites you.
Or eats your food or your wall. Hey, big rats could probably kill my cat.
Wait, what were you gonna say?
Hey, big rats like that could probably kill your cat. I wouldn't trust that.
No, I wouldn't trust it either. I'm honestly not a big fan of cats, to tell you the truth.
Wow, okay. My cats are the sweetest things in the world.
No, I'm not saying like I hate all cats. I'm not saying I hate all cats. I hate the cats that are...
Yeah, there are rude cats, but I'm lucky mine are all very nice.
So what? If you're asking for advice, Logan, I would say if they're not hurting anything, I would still call somebody because
I'd still recommend them get them out of your house.
Yeah, just to get them out of your house.
Because they can still get into things you don't want them to get into. They could chew up wires or something. It's going to be a fun night when all the electricity goes out and you find a fried rat in your wall.
Mm-hmm. So with the live discussions, guys, before we end up closing shop here in about a couple minutes, I just want to let you know that live discussions are going to take place once a week. I'm usually going to have 1 or 2 guests on, depending on, because there are going to be days where I'm going to have maybe, I'm going to have Tegan on here. Sometimes I might do it by myself. Sometimes I'm going to have another friend on here. It's going to be a fun time. I'm probably going to have a specific day during the week and a specific time. I was originally going to do it once this week. I was going to do it on Tuesday. But because my friend here wasn't on yesterday, I decided to do it today because I was planning on having her as one of my first guests on the live discussion. I ended up putting Ninjoid on. Ninjoid is a good friend of mine. I actually also wanted him to be my first guest as well. So Ninjoid, if you're watching, man, love you, brother. Logan here. Rats are cute little creatures. I would caress one for days.
You do that. That's not for me though.
Yeah. I also had Sour on yesterday. He's also a good friend of mine. Also, guys, before I head out, in the description, I'm going to say this again. You can find me on Twitter at theoscillator17. You can subscribe to the channel. You can subscribe to AngryCareBears' channel. You can find her on Instagram. So this is your last 20 seconds, guys, to put in any chats because if you guys ask any questions, we will definitely go over the hour. But as soon as those 20 seconds are up, that is it. We got 7 seconds.
Thanks for having me on, Austin. I had a lot of fun, and I just want to thank you for inviting me to the show.
You're very welcome. I can't wait to have you on here again.
Yeah, I can't wait to be on again.
We might actually be going over the hour here. Coney 2012. Yep.
Epic.
And then Yummy Fries Rat.
Oh, God. Is that Spee's favorite food?
Oh, all right, guys. I believe those are the... Oh, nope. That's not the last chat. Whoa!
Yankee with no brim.
All right. I believe that's the last chat. Thank you for coming on, Tegan.
Thanks for having me.
This was fun. As always, live discussions are always fun, especially when you're having it with friends.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait, we actually got another one here. The rat with no skin.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, wait, we got another one here. I time travel is real and witches are in the forest.
Amazing.
I believe that.
Well, yeah, maybe. Time travel could be possible.
It can be.
I feel like you could only go forward in time, though.
Yeah. Because I feel like... Because if you go forward in time, you're not really changing anything. But if you go in the past, you're probably going to mess something up.
Oh, yeah. The smallest thing can mess up the biggest thing, the butterfly effect.
All right. That now, I believe, is the last chat. Yup, witches and Sasquatches. Yup, that is exactly true.
Sasquatches eat babies.
Yep. Guys, thank you, Steve. Thank you, Logan. Thank you, Ninjoid, for coming on here. It was, again, fun answering your guys' questions, that and the other. Again, you can find AngryCareBears on YouTube. You can also find me on YouTube as well. And, guys, I believe that is about it. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is the Austinator, signing out.